Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cynthia, and on this channel I talk about metaphysics, psychology, and everything in between. Most people like to believe that we are living in an objective world influenced by causality, meaning that there's only one singular reality waiting to be lived. They also like to argue that there are objective facts about our realities that are unchangeable. For example, the country that you are born in, the parents that birthed you, tornadoes that hit and wreck our lives, a partner or spouse that decides to leave you high and dry. And they are absolutely right. These objective facts are unchangeable. However, nothing is determined by these objective facts. And to quote the great philosopher and psychologist Alfred Adler, we are not influenced by facts, but by the interpretation of those facts. So this means that you and I have the power to create the world around us, the experiences that we have based off the meaning that we give these experiences. You cannot alter objective facts, but subjective interpretation can be altered as much as you like, and subjective interpretation begins from the mind, by what you are conscious of. The dictionary defines consciousness as a person's awareness or perception of something. In this video, I'll be discussing how you can use your consciousness to create the world around you that you desire from a spiritual and scientific viewpoint. So if this is something that you're interested in, please stay tuned and let's delve right in. Welcome back. So, how consciousness creates your reality, the spiritual viewpoint. Have you heard of the universal law of mentalism? This law states that everything starts from the mind, that the all is the mind, the universe is mental. So, what this means is that before anything is manifested into your reality, it's first birthed in your consciousness, or should I say, your awareness. And this may come as a surprise, but allow me make a bold statement. Your consciousness is God. That means you can never create something that you are not conscious of. And since your consciousness is the God that births all that you desire into your reality, that means that the consciousness of a desired state will always precede its manifestation. That means that before you get whatever it is that you desire, you need to first become conscious of it. Consciousness of the state desired will always precede its manifestation. So you have to realize that the power to create all that you desire is within you and not outside of you. Jesus, the greatest metaphysician, said that if someone comes to you saying, "Look here, look there," believe them not, for the kingdom of God is within you. Heaven is within you. Neville Goddard, in his book At Your Command, explained this concept so well. He said that praying is recognizing yourself to be that you desire, rather than begging for it. For example, to be cautious of being poor and praying to a God for riches is to be rewarded with that which you are conscious of, more poverty. Do you now see why millions of prayers are not answered? It is because people are praying and begging for things that they have not risen in consciousness to. Therefore, for your prayers to be successful, you need to claim that which you desire and not beg for it. And by claiming, I don't mean begging and saying, God, this is what I need more riches. I mean, you have to rise in consciousness to that state that you desire. If it is wealth, you need to rise to the consciousness of wealth and embody it. That, my friend, that act is called praying. Have you heard of the universal law of correspondence? This law states that as within, so without, which means that everything begins from your inner state of being. You see how these universal laws are all connected in a way? Because like I mentioned earlier, the law of mentalism states that everything starts from the mind. Everything is within you. You have the power to create everything that you want. So just like the law of correspondence states that as within, so without, that means that whatever you believe to be true about yourself, your self-concept, that you will get more of, that will manifest in your reality. Because since you are conscious of these different beliefs that you're having, they will draw the things that you believe into your reality. You know the Bible verse that states that when you pray, go into secret, shut the door, and that which your Father sees in secret, with that will He reward you openly. Well, you may decide to take this Bible verse literally and literally go into a room, shut it, pray, and then believe that whatever you're praying for in secret, God will reward you with that openly. Or you can take the metaphysical interpretation of that verse that states that you believe to be true about yourself in secret, your self-concept, with that will God reward you openly. Those beliefs that you have about yourself secretly, those things that you just know about yourself. I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am blessed, I am highly favored, everything always works out for me. Those things you'll be rewarded with openly by God. These self-concepts about yourself create the reality in which you live. Because what you believe to be true about yourself draws those things onto you. I actually made a video on self-concept. I will not go into detail about it in this video. I'm going to link the video up here on self-concept. I urge you to go and watch this video because I discussed the concept of self-concept in detail and how it creates your life. So you may want to go and watch this video. So we have already discussed that your consciousness is God, right? What that means, okay, this leads me to another important fact about consciousness. That means that whatever you are conscious of, whether good or bad, you will manifest that into your reality. Your consciousness draws all those things that you're conscious of, whether good or bad, into your reality. So you might want to check what you are conscious of, because what you're conscious of is what you are creating in your reality. Okay? If you haven't yet fully grasped this whole idea of consciousness and how it creates your reality around you, let me give another example that beautifully illustrates this concept. And this is coming from the book Ask and It's Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. So in the book, they give an example that, say for example, you are listening to a radio, right? And you're on radio, you're listening into radio 101. Say now you want to listen to radio 202. No matter how hard you pray, no matter how hard you try, you will not listen to what is being broadcasted on radio 202 when you're still on radio, when you're still in the frequency of radio 101. What you'll need to do is tune into radio 202 to be able to hear what is being broadcasted on radio 202. And you know what? People don't like this statement a lot, but I feel like it really boils down to what I'm saying. Have you heard of that statement, fake it till you make it? I know, people don't like to hear this statement, but it beautifully illustrates this whole concept. Because a person who's faking it until they're making it, you know, they do not have all the answers, right? They are just going with what they know in that moment, with what they have in that moment, and believing that if they make that step towards what they want, everything else that is unknown will be made known to them, right? You know, there is that Bible verse that says, I don't know it verbatim, but let me paraphrase. Jesus was saying that concentrate on what you know, what you have, and what is unknown will be made known to you. So the person who is faking it until they are making it, they know they're at point A, which is poverty, but they want to go to point B, which is wealth. They do not know the answers, the how they're going to get there, but they're deciding that I'm going to rise in consciousness to wealth in order to get it. So I'm going to fake it till I make it. I'm going to assume that state of being wealthy. I'm going to feel the vibration of being wealthy. I'm going to think the thoughts of being wealthy. And even if I don't have the answers now, they'll be made known to me as I make my journey to wealth. Jesus said that no man comes to me unless the Father within me draws him. For I and my Father are one. The metaphysical interpretation of that verse is that you and your Father that you believe is blessing you with all these things are one. You're one with your consciousness. All these things that you birth into your reality, all these blessings that you have, whatever it is, the curses, whatever you have, the Father within you is drawing those things to you. The Father within you is your consciousness. Whatever you're conscious of is drawing that which you are conscious of to you. You are at this very moment drawing into your reality that which you are conscious of. So ask yourself, what am I conscious of in this very moment? What am I feeding my awareness, my attention to? What are those beliefs that I have about myself? Because those beliefs and what you are conscious of are what is creating your reality. Okay? So ask yourself, if what I'm conscious of in this very moment is actually creating all these things that I have in my life, if I want this state of being, I need to grow in consciousness to that state. So whatever it is that you desire in this life, become conscious of it. Become aware of it. And once you are conscious and aware of it, all those things will be drawn to you. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added on to you. Or in other words, rise in consciousness to the state that you desire, and it will be compelled to appear in your reality. So with that being said, do not question how these things will appear in your reality, for no man knows. Just trust that once you have decreed a thing to come to pass, it shall come to pass. And by decreeing, I mean claiming. And by claiming, I mean rising in consciousness to that state that you desire. That is what it means to have faith. Remember, things have no reality other than in consciousness. So, for those of us that are thinking this is a bunch of woo-woo, let's get into the scientific viewpoint of how consciousness can create your reality. Okay? Let's jump right in. So, how consciousness creates your reality, the scientific viewpoint. Did you know that your brain does this really cool thing called dual processing? This is when your brain simultaneously processes information on both conscious and non-conscious tracks. So, for example, you're walking by a restaurant and you notice your partner speaking with a certain familiar face, a lady probably that you knew in high school. So, your deliberate conscious mind will be looking at your partner and his or her conversational partner, while your implicit automatic mind will be sub-processing simultaneously like a computer. For example, partner's shirt color, white. Sitting posture, upright and leaning towards lady. Association, I hated this lady back in high school. Implicit bias, relationships with exes are troublesome. So all of this information will weigh on your behavior after seeing this whole scenario unfolding in your eyes. So what I'm trying to say by all this is that by some estimates, your senses are scoping up nearly 11 million bits of information per second, and yet you consciously register about 40 at a time. So how do you stay focused and filter out all this chatter in order to get things done? Or in other words, in order to create the reality that you actually desire? Well, you do this with selective attention. Selective attention is when you place your awareness or your consciousness on a particular stimulus or group of stimuli while effectively tuning out the rest. Your consciousness is like a spotlight on a busy stage, okay? There could be a lot going on around you that your sub-processor brain is covertly registering, but in that moment when you decide to place your spotlight of consciousness and awareness on a particular stimulus, the other stimuli will fade away. And that you're paying attention to will be catapulted into the foreground of your attention. I actually talked about this same concept in a video I made on a book review of The Anti-That Soul by Michael Essinger, which I'm also going to put here. I talk about this particular concept, so I urge you to go and watch that video so that you can understand it fully. So, to help you conceptualize this further, let me give an example. Say, for example, you're watching a TV show that has completely entranced you. At this moment, you probably don't even notice the feel of the blanket that you're covering yourself with. But as soon as I mention it, your consciousness goes from the TV show and it's placed on the feeling of the blanket that you're covering yourself with. So, just like the spotlight on the busy stage that I mentioned earlier, you're shifting your consciousness from the TV show to the feeling of the blanket that you're covering yourself with. The ability to shift your consciousness from one state to another is freaking profound. Wouldn't you agree? So, what does this all mean in terms of creating the life that you desire? Well, here's how selective attention creates the reality in which you live. Selective attention is the biggest contributor to belief systems. What I mean is this: when you get a certain thought about a person, about a situation, about an experience, and you decide to place your consciousness and your awareness on that thought over and over and over, you see what you're doing? You're being very selective about your thoughts. You're thinking that thought over and over and over and over. And do you know what happens after that? You assign meaning to that thought. And this is how beliefs are formed. Beliefs create a cognitive lens through which you view and interpret the world in which you live in. So this cognitive lens will seek out information, evidence that proves your already existing beliefs that you formed using your selective attention. So, for example, if your partner breaks up with you and you come up with, and you think, I thought, maybe I'm not attractive enough. And the more you place your consciousness on that thought, okay, you're being very selective, you see? Selective attention. You are thinking that thought over and over again. Before you know it, it becomes a belief in you. And now, this belief forms that cognitive lens through which you view and interpret the world around you. So, for example, you go to a party somewhere, and you are alluring. You have dressed really gorgeously, right? No matter how many people compliment you on your looks, if one person there says, interesting choice of outfit, trust me, because you created a belief system of maybe I'm not attractive, that belief, that statement will spark that cognitive lens, okay? Because remember, that cognitive lens is always now looking out for evidence that proves your already existing beliefs. So no matter how many people complimented you saying, wow, you look alluring, you look gorgeous tonight, because that one person has said, interesting choice of outfit, you will take that. Your cognitive lens will pick that up because you have already trained it to look for such evidence. And once you take in that belief, guess what? You'll feel down. You will get into this whole cycle of self-deprecating thoughts, ruminating over and over. Hey, probably this is even why my partner broke up with me. Because I'm not that attractive. No matter how I dress, never attractive. See how you're creating your own reality using your consciousness? So I want you to understand that the brain selective filtering system works in an activation and inhibition mode. This means that when it is primed by a certain belief, it actually shuts down any competing neural networks, so you have a hard time seeing evidence to the contrary of what you already believe. Okay? So that is why if you have a negative view of the world, your brain will continue seeking out evidence that proves your already existing beliefs, that the world is a perilous place. And that is why you are convinced that your view of the world is the truth. So do you now see what I mean when I say that your consciousness, what you are conscious of, creates your reality? Do you see? So to conclude this video, I want you to understand that your thoughts are the consciousness that is emitting the reality of everything that you are experiencing. Your thoughts create real and solid things from the multiple possibilities involved in your reality. So why not be conscious of that which is good for you? Why not be conscious of the state that you desire? I want you to ask yourself the following questions. What am I conscious of? What am I placing my awareness on? What am I paying attention to? The answers to these questions will point you to the belief systems that you're creating that ultimately create the world in which you are living. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section what you thought about the video. I am very interested to know. And please remember to subscribe to my channel, as that helps me out a lot. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next. Bye.